Welcome back. Now, there's going to be less finger licking in South Africa for a while. The world's second largest fast food chain, KFC, is starting to feel the pinch of the electricity crisis in the country. It's shutting down some of its South African branches temporarily due to ongoing power cuts. Now, it says its suppliers are struggling to get chicken to its franchises. So let's find out some details from KFC's Chief Marketing Officer, Grant Macpherson, joining me this morning to talk about this. Grant, good morning to you. You're not the bearer of good news. And I'm saying this personally because I love my fried chicken, but understandably we're going through so much when it comes to the electricity crisis. Let's talk about the impact of, these load shedding and blackouts on the franchises. To what extent are we seeing the impact?
Yeah, Tamilia, first of all, thank you for having me and best wishes to you and your listeners on the festive season. As you mentioned, we have many fans across South Africa who may be impacted somewhat by these constraints, but I just want to clarify that these constraints are very limited and in the short term. So at the moment, we have just a handful of franchisees who are experiencing these closures, and we expect this to be rectified very soon.
And I mean, do we know how long the branches will be closed for? Because I know it's a temporary closure, but do we know for how long they'll be closed for?
Yes. Well, it is very temporary. We're working very closely with our suppliers to make sure that this situation is rectified in the coming weeks. So into the new year, we expect the shortage to be changed significantly so that our fans can get their hands on our finger-licking goodness. But I also just want to clarify that it's less than 7% of our estate that is affected at the moment. So that means over 900 restaurants across the country will be serving fans' favorite finger-licking food throughout the festive season.
Which regions, though, when we talk about particular areas, which of those branches are closed temporarily and which of those you mentioned will still be open, will be open? In which parts of the country are we talking here?
At the moment, we've seen mainly around the northern Gauteng and KZN region. That's primarily because we know that South Africans love to come to KZN during South Africa, so we've seen quite a high demand. But again, I just want to reiterate that this is just a handful of restaurants. Only 7% of our estate is experiencing intermittent closures, which means, like I said, 900 restaurants are still going and giving you your favorite finger-licking goodness.
Right. When we talk about plans of overcoming load shedding, what's KFC's plan? And I suppose this is a question we ask to every business, right? When you talk about generators, alternative energy, what is KFC's strategic plan?
So actually, we have over 600 generators in our restaurants. So that means well over close to 2/3 of our estate have generators. So when the lights go off, you can come and get some zinger wings, or my personal favorite, the double crunch burger. So we have invested into measures to make sure that consumers can get some finger-licking good food. We are working very closely with these suppliers. Like I said earlier, the constraint is primarily driven by some shortages within our supply chain to ensure that they have sufficient backup power so that the situation is rectified in the upcoming weeks.
Okay, so you mentioned that definitely I can get my zinger wings when I get to KFC, but also I might see a limited menu availability signage in some of the KFC. Do you know which items that come from in some of the restaurants, that come to mind, which may be limited?
Look, at the moment, the main impact is on our world-famous original recipe, COB. As mentioned, this is intermittent. So many restaurants will have your favorite chicken on the bone. But there are a wealth of products you can try. My personal favorite is a double crunch meal, so I'd encourage people to get down there and try that. Otherwise, we have our burgers, our wraps range, which is open for business. So anyone who wants to get their hands on that delicious item may go to any KFC.
Yeah. Do you anticipate a loss due to this, temporary closure due to some of your branches?
We are being impacted. Obviously, if the restaurant is closed, we can't trade, but we've had a very prosperous year so far this year. So it is a short-term impact, which we don't want to be in this situation, but we aren't feeling massive pressure at the minute.
All right. Definitely can get the zinger wing. We can get, of course, some burgers at KFC. So it's looking like it's well on track, according to you, Grant. Thank you so much for assuring us. We just needed that assurity that our festive season is not going down the drain without any KFC. But thanks, Grant Macpherson, Chief Marketing Officer for KFC Africa. Thank you so much for your time this morning.